allowed a time for this world and its god, Satan the devil, to exist and develop in their wickedness, and he has set a time for their destruction. 2 Co 4. 2 P 3. 7 The prophetic prayer of the psalmist was, that people may know that you, whose name is Jehovah, you alone are the most high over all the earth. PS 83. 18 Jehovah himself has sworn. To me every knee will bend down, every tongue will swear, saying, surely in Jehovah there are full righteousness and strength. Isra 45. 23, 24. How far the issue reached. How far-reaching was the issue? Since man had been induced to sin, and since an angel had sinned, the question reached up to and included God's heavenly creatures, even God's only begotten Son, the one closest to Jehovah God. This one, who always did the things pleasing to his Father, would be most anxious to serve for the vindication of Jehovah's sovereignty. Job 8. 29. Heb 1. 9 God selected him for this assignment, sending him to the earth, where he was born as a male child through the Virgin Mary. Lu 1. 35 He was perfect, and he maintained that perfection and blamelessness throughout his life, even to a disgraceful death. Heb 7. 26 Before his death he said, now there is a judging of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. Also, the ruler of the world is coming, and he has no hold on me. Job 12. 31. 14. 30 Satan could get no hold so as to break Christ's integrity, and he was judged as having failed, ready to be cast out. Jesus conquered the world. Job 16. 33. Jesus Christ, vindicator of the righteousness of Jehovah's sovereignty. So Jesus Christ, in a totally perfect way, proved the devil a liar, completely settling the question, will any man be faithfully to God under whatever test or trial may be brought against him? Jesus therefore was appointed by the sovereign God as the executor of his purposes, the one to be used to destroy wickedness, including the devil, from the universe. This authority he will exercise, and every knee will bend and every tongue openly acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord to the glory of God the Father. PHP 2. 5-11. Heb 2. 14. 1 Job 3. 8. In the dominion granted the Son, he rules in his Father's name, bringing to nothing all government and all authority and power that stand against Jehovah's sovereignty. The Apostle Paul reveals that Jesus Christ then offers the greatest tribute to Jehovah's sovereignty, for, when all things will have been subjected to him, then the Son himself will also subject himself to the one who subjected all things to him, that God may be all things to everyone. 1 Cor 15. 24-28. The book of Revelation shows that after the end of Christ's 1,000-year reign, in which he puts down all authority that attempts to rival Jehovah's sovereignty, the devil will be loosed for a short time. He will try to revive the issue, but no long grant of time will be given for that which is already settled. Satan and those following him will be completely annihilated. Read 20. 7-10. Others who uphold Jehovah's side. Though Christ's faithfulness thoroughly proved God's side of the issue, others are permitted to share in this. PR 27. 11 The effects of Christ's integrity keeping course, including his sacrificial death, are pointed out by the Apostle. Through one act of justification o texto e acute miritra longo, soa, sowing 1013 Jehovah's blessing. Jehovah is the one providing the seed and the growing process, as well as the sunshine and rain, by which the field produces many times the quantity that is planted. 2 Sa 23. 3, 4. Isra 55. 10 All mankind, whether righteous or wicked, thus receive benefits from the Creator. Mount 5. 45. Act 14. 15-17. However, Jehovah God does not generally exercise specific control over the factors that make growth possible. Thus wicked persons at times may enjoy a bountiful harvest, whereas righteous ones, because of experiencing unfavorable conditions, may have a crop failure. Compare Job 21. 7-24. On the other hand, when it suits his purpose, Jehovah can bless the sower and bring him abundant crops, or he can cause a scarcity of fruitage, depending upon the soul's faithfulness and obedience to him. For example, Jehovah purposed to make Israel a great and numerous nation in the promised land, so he blessed his obedient servants bountifully. When Isaac was sojourning in Canaan, even though he was harassed by the natives of the land, Jehovah blessed him so that his sowing resulted in a harvest of up to 100 measures from 1 measure sown. GE 26. 12. The spiritual condition of Israel determined the kind of harvest they received. Jehovah said to them before they entered the promised land, "If you continue walking in my statutes and keeping my commandments, and you do carry them out, your threshing will certainly reach to your grape gathering, and the grape gathering will reach to the sowing of seed. The crops would be so bountiful that the harvest would not be finished before the time to sow the next crop." Compare Am 9. 13. On the other hand, God warned, "If you will not listen to me nor do all these commandments, you will simply sow your seed for nothing, as your enemies will certainly eat it up." And he added, "Your earth will not give its yield." Lat 26. 3-5, 14-16, 20. Compare Hag 1. 6. Later, in the prophet Jeremiah's day, Jehovah's warning proved true. Describing their bad condition, Jehovah then said, "They have sown wheat, but thorns are what they had reaped." Jer 12. 13. Israel's law governing sowing. In the law given through Moses, God commanded that the land was to be sown for 6 years, but no sowing or harvesting was to be done during the 7th year Sabbath year nor on the Jubilee year. Acts 23. 10, 11. Lat 25. 3, 4, 11. This served to test their faith, and it gave them more time for pursuit of spiritual things. It also was good for the soil. Since the land was Jehovah's, it was, in a sense, holy, and his people were holy. Therefore care had to be taken to prevent any kind of defilement. If the dead body of an unclean animal, for example, a rat or a lizard, fell upon seed that was wet, it was unclean for use, whereas if the seed was dry, it was clean. This was no doubt because the wetness would tend to spread the uncleanness throughout the seed. Law 11. 31, 37, 38. Also, the mixing of different seeds in sowing was not permitted, though seeds of different kinds could be sown, each kind in separate places in the same field. The 19. Isra 28. 25. This may have been to keep the Israelites mindful of their separateness and distinctness as God's people, under his kingship. If an Israelite violated this law, mixing 2 sorts of seeds, the entire produce of his field or vineyard became as something devoted. It was therefore forfeited to the sanctuary. The 22. 9. Compare La 27. 28. New 18. 14. Illustrative use. Illustrating Jehovah's care for and blessing on the remnant that returned from Babylon, the psalmist wrote, "Those sowing seed with tears will reap even with a joyful cry. The one that without fail goes forth, even weeping, carrying along a bag full of seed, will without fail come in with a joyful cry, carrying along his sheaves." PS 126. 1, 5, 6. Those returning from Babylon were very happy at their release, but they may have otextoi acute miritra longo, soa, sowing 1014. God who does all things and man does not understand all of God's ways of working. Accordingly, he advises, "In the morning sow your seed, and until the evening do not let your hand rest. For you are not knowing where it will have success, either here or there, or whether both of them will alike be good." EC 11. 4-6. The Apostle Paul seems to be thinking similarly when he encourages the Christians at Corinth in their generosity in connection with the relief ministration for the brothers at Jerusalem, who had suffered hardships and had lost many of their possessions through persecution leveled against them by the Jews. Paul said, "He that sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he that sows bountifully will also reap bountifully." God, moreover, is able to make all his undeserved kindness abound toward you, that, while you always have full self-sufficiency in everything, you may have plenty for every good work. Now he that abundantly supplies seed to the sower and bread for eating will supply and multiply the seed for you to sow and will increase the products of your righteousness. Then Paul points out the good that results in addition to God's favor and bounty in a material way, namely, that such generosity results in thanks to God and glorification of God, along with the love and prayers of those being helped, in behalf of those extending help. There is also an increase of love in the congregation. 2 Cor 9. 6-14. Preaching the good news. Jesus Christ likened the sowing of seed to preaching the word, the good news of the kingdom. He was the sower of the kingdom truths, and John the Baptist had also worked as a sower. Jesus' disciples were sent out to reap in the fields that had been sown and were white for harvesting. Therefore he said to them, already the reaper is receiving wages and gathering fruit for everlasting life, so that the sower and the reaper may rejoice together. One is the sower and another the reaper. I dispatched you to reap what you have spent no labor on. Others have labored in sowing, and you have entered into the benefit of their labor by reaping. Job 4. 35-38. Again, Jesus likened the preaching work to sowing, in the illustration of the sower. In this parable the seed sown is the word of the kingdom. Jesus pointed out that the conditions under which the seed is sown can affect the sprouting and growing of the seed in the hearts of man. Mount 13. 1-9, 18-23. Lu 8. 5-15. The wheat and the weeds. In another illustration Jesus likened himself to a sower of fine seed, and the seed to sons of the kingdom. Another sower, an enemy who sows weeds in the field, is the devil. Here Jesus was evidently foretelling an apostasy to come, when, in and among the Christian congregation, there would be men falsely claiming to be servants of God and attempting to defile the